Hello again to you. Over 200 speakers are expected to attend the 7th South Africa AIDS Conference being held at the Inkosi Luthuli International Conference Centre in Durban. That's from today up until Friday. The event will be an exposure to new data and information, critical developments in various avenues, prevention, interventions, treatments that are available, groundbreaking research, as you've heard from one or two of our interviews a little bit earlier. They'll all be presented and debated along with ideas about what might and might not work in prevention and treatments. But one of South Africa's attendees at the conference is Musa Njoko, a singer and HIV/AIDS activist. She joins us now live from our Durban studios. Musa, a very good morning to you. Thanks again for your time. Musa, I'm not sure whether or not you can hear me, but let's give it a go and see how it will pan out. Why did you decide to get involved in the conference, and how exactly will you be participating?
Well, for me, diagnosed with HIV in 1994 when I was just 22 years old, I had no choice but to be involved in the HIV response, fighting for my life, fighting for survival. And so I have been part of the HIV response in the country as well as globally. As we know that we have not conquered or dealt with all the issues relating to HIV, the battle is not over yet. So the continuous involvement and participation in conferences such as this one's, finding solutions, is what compels me to continue to make the voice of women to be heard, but also towards building an AIDS-free generation in South Africa and around the world, for that matter. A lot of discussions have indicated that great strides have been made in combating HIV/AIDS across the world, but that South Africa, the trends are a little bit different in that young people in South Africa between the ages of 14 and 24, young women in particular, are still seeing new infections at a rapid rate. Now, I want to personalize this, if I may, for a moment. At the age of 22, when you find out that you've been infected with HIV/AIDS, what goes on through your mind, and what gives you that perseverance to say, I can make it, it's not a death sentence, I will overcome? What went on through your mind? Oh my gosh, I was devastated. At the time, my son was just less than 2 years old. I was a young mother, single, as the story goes. And at the time, there were no treatments. This was in 1994. I was told if I was lucky, I was going to make it to Christmas. It was on the 25th of October. I was devastated. I was told to go home, tell my family that I was dying. At 22, you're not thinking about dying. You're thinking about life. You're thinking about all the ambitions that you have. And also for South Africa, it was a very crucial time, a time of democracy, the new birth of this beautiful rainbow nation, which I had been told I wasn't going to be part of it. And sadly, because of stigma and discrimination at a church where I was at the time, right now I'm with KwaZulu-Natal Christian Center, where I am supported and embraced as a person living with HIV. At a church where I was at the time, I was kicked out, told to no longer participate in the activities of the church because I was cursed, because I was sinned. I'm bringing this up because it is one of the key issues or key sector, the church, where young people, they don't feel embraced, where young people are misunderstood. And so there are so many other opportunities that we miss as a society to be able to reach out to young people, particularly speaking on matters of moral regeneration. As we know, there's a lot of social ills that are rooted to that.
Why do you think in 2015 we're still seeing new infections of HIV and AIDS in the country? We cannot fault, I think, government when it comes to letting us know there's been Scumtalk, Groundbreakers, Love Life, number of initiatives, yourselves and other stakeholders have gone at length to let us know that this virus is out there, and this is how you protect yourself, this is how you make sure you stay negative, etc. Why do you think that we're still seeing infections today? Is it because people are thinking it can never happen to me? Why is it?
I think it's just that perception that it cannot happen to me, but also in the process of normalizing HIV, people have become so carefree to say, you know what, I still have many years to live with HIV. There is treatment, but there's also that element. As society generally, we have not been taught or raised to take decisions independently. We are used to somebody taking a decision for us and telling us what it is that we should be doing. But HIV is challenging us to personalize and look at things at a personal level. And for some reason, it seems we are not really able to grasp that and be able to take responsibility, which is the key thing that I am pushing forward, taking responsibility, because for me to be able to be where I am, I had to take responsibility, but also everyone else around me to play their role and take responsibility, because this matter is a very personal matter. It's very individual driven for us to be able to see the change that we want to see.
The stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS, has it changed somewhat?
Somewhat it has changed, but it has not gone away. I would say maybe HIV stigma has only changed the tone, the look, and the way it does things. It's like racism. If you're not paying attention, you can easily say there's no racism in South Africa. But when you pay attention, you are able to see all of those things. So same with HIV. We still find people in high profile or in the limelight. Those people will not test. They will not openly speak about their HIV positive status if they are HIV positive. So HIV is still somewhat something that is kept under carpet. There are partners who are in relationships, partners, they don't know each other's statuses. Why? People are afraid of being stigmatized. People are afraid of being discriminated. So I think for that reason, how people are responding to the interventions that have been put forward. Yes, we've made some progress, but we are not there yet. Stigma is still very much alive and loud.
Let's talk about the power of the arts in raising awareness now. You yourself a singer, and we know in decades past in South Africa, be it in the anti-apartheid struggle, you name it, the voice of the artist, the musician, the painters, the poets, etc., have been at the forefront in making sure that we see social change. What role do you think women such as yourselves or artists such as yourself have to play in terms of using the arts as a vehicle to change the stigma that you just spoke about?
Wow, arts is the key, and it allows us to be able to reach to people that maybe politicians may not be able to reach. It's something that people carry with them for longer periods. It doesn't just end when you are in that space where maybe there is a performance, but it goes a very long way. And people in performing arts, people in general or the public, they like to emulate. Those are the people that they follow, as you have correctly said. During the apartheid regime, artists played a very important role. And for me, being an artist myself, I have been able to be at platforms where other people would not be, and be able to pass that message of hope, awareness, as well as education. But the challenging thing is that artists, they say, I cannot disclose my status. What is going to happen to my sales? That is element of stigma. So we just going to have to break the silence. We just going to have to break that wall to make our people realize that there is life after a positive diagnosis, and also to say prevention is the only cure that we have. But we can be able to do that and get that message across to people through different forms of arts. Like I am an artist, I sing, I'm a recording artist, but also I am working on a musical production telling my story, my journey of 21 years living with HIV. So people from all walks of life, they are able to come into the space and be able to listen for themselves, do some introspection, and be able to reflect and be able to move forward.
Wow. Well, we are so appreciative of your time and that you have taken us into your confidence and spoken so openly and freely about who you are, where you're from, where you're at the moment, and where you're going. So I'm going to ask just in a few minutes just to give us some details of where we can contact you. Should someone want you to come and speak to young people in their area, or they'd love to get your CD when it comes out, or watch your play, sure. How do we reach you? How do we get a hold of you?
You can find me on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Musa Queen Njoko, or you can find me on my personal wall, Musa Njoko. And I'm also reachable on www.musanjoko.com. That will be my website. Otherwise, also on email, njokomusa@gmail.com. That is where you can find me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. So basically, if you do a Google search of Musa Njoko, you'll find a number of ways to reach her, and make sure that young people as well today, we do know that the ages between 14 and 24, especially young girls, we're seeing an increase in new infections from that front. So I think a lot of intervention must be made. So if you do have a group of youngsters, perhaps schools, perhaps social clubs, etc., where you need someone to speak to them and to really waken them up to the reality of HIV and AIDS, she's definitely sounding like one person you can invite for that particular talk. Let's leave it there, at least for now. Quick ad break. Morning Live continues.